Welcome, everyone, to Beyond the Brandywine,
where we wander, wonder, and occasionally get lost in Middle-earth. I'm Angela.
And I'm Kelsey. Beyond the Brandywine is a cozy, curious, and occasionally chaotic journey through the stories of Middle-earth.
Join us as we laugh over the odd bits of lore and follow tangents like hobbits chasing second breakfast. We're here to explore the places where the map fades and the questions get weird.
I think they're going to get a little weird today.
Yeah, so Kelsey, I'm so excited for this week's episode, and I feel like this is a topic that we can talk about for hours and hours, but
we'll try to contain ourselves. No, I'm with you. I've been looking forward to this episode since we initially talked about it, because I think this is one of those topics where, like, the deeper you go, the more it changes what you thought you understood about all of Tolkien's legendarium.
So, Kelsey, why don't you tell our listeners, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today? So today we're talking about redemption, and what we've sort of coined as who gets a second chance in Middle-earth, what the terms are, who earns it, who rejects it, and what Tolkien actually thinks grace looks like in a broken world.
Yeah, we're going to find out pretty quickly that the answer is a lot more complicated than just be good and things will work out.
Yeah, Frodo literally fails at the most important moment in the story.
And Gollum saves the world by accident.
And Saruman is offered something like 8 genuine chances at redemption and says, no, thank you, every single time.
No, thanks. Yeah, so we're going to dig into all of that. We're going to talk about the characters who get there, the ones who don't get there, and some cases where we generally just aren't sure, because Tolkien wasn't sure either. And I find that really moving, actually.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful way to put it. Okay, let's start with the framework, because before we can talk about who gets redeemed and a lot of people who don't, we need to talk about what the rules are, or at least what I think the rules could be.
Okay. So
what are the conditions that you can be redeemed in Middle-earth?
Okay. My biggest one is you've got to show some level of self-awareness and humility to you've done something wrong.
Not middle fingers to the Valar and see what happens?
Right. That doesn't actually work.
I think that's fair. I think that's also I know we've strayed away from religion in some of our previous episodes, but I think it's pretty apparent that Tolkien's Catholicism is inescapable, at least for this topic, because a lot of his views from Catholicism and religion kind of bleed through into how he sees redemption and grace.
So
how
does
world.
He see it? Explain a little bit.
So redemption in Middle-earth, it's not like a plot device. Like, you do a bad thing and then the character is redeemed. It's almost like a principle of how things work. And grace and repentance are freely given, right? But then it's kind of up to you to accept that it has been given to you. And you have that humility, you have that awareness, and you ultimately choose of your own free will to be a better person. And I think that shows up in Tolkien's works, where we see a very stark difference between characters who have that self-awareness and humility and choose to do the right thing, even if it's hard, that recognize chances when they're given to them and aren't like, I can do better, or I know better, or sometimes just miss it, or, have committed enough bad acts in their life. They're so full of sin, if you will, that maybe they're not redeemable. I hate to say it like that.
Well, yeah, either they're just unredeemable and that is who they are, or maybe they think they're so far down the path that there's no way that they could turn it back around.
But they have to believe in themselves, right? I think that's I think that's part of it. So there's a term I wanted to throw. We were talking about it just before the podcast, but Tolkien came up with this really cool word, and I think you asked about, like, what are his views?
Yeah, what is it?
It's called eucastrophe, and I will not attempt to spell that. It's a term that Tolkien coined, and I think it came about because somebody was sort of asking him, or he had the realization. But either way, he said it's this sudden, joyous turn in a story that feels like undeserved grace rather than an earned resolution. And I think that kind of gets at his worldview, right? It's like his theological model for redemption is it arrives as a gift, and it feels not deserved in a lot of cases. And you have to recognize to take that moment, but it's not like hero does the thing, hero messes up.
I really
hero
like that.
realizes that he messed up and then here's the nice clean. No, like it's this, like you're almost stressing out about choices or sins or whatever, and then out of nowhere this almost unexpected gift comes in the books from the Valar or from previous grace or mercy or pity, but it just kind of shows up and you got to take it, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Which I think it generally does feel uncomfortable, and that's part of why it's so hard to accept it.
Yes, right? You got to be the right.
Yeah.
It's tricky. Like, I think
But I really like that.
It's a cool term, right? Like I'd never come across it before.
And I love how all of Tolkien's examples that we'll go into, none of them are just clean. Like they're all very messy and
they feel real.
Yeah, exactly.
They feel like things we would struggle with. Like maybe not like fighting off a horde of orcs, but
Right. The general principle. It's very relatable.
Yeah, we'll get to some of the commonalities between some of these cases, but for me, it seems like there's a few conditions, and you mentioned like humility and being aware. I think that kind of goes into genuine repentance. You don't just need to be regretful of your actions. You need to genuinely believe and fully
acknowledge the depth.
Yeah. Like, oh, I feel bad about what I did. Like, really? Like, that's not genuine repentance. And I think
you can't just say the words. You've got to really feel it. Yeah, there's also, I have that you have to have a willingness to lose power.
I like that.
Because even if you acknowledge that you've done wrong, you're not necessarily just going to keep your same level of power and continue with the trust that you had. You're going to have to accept that it's going to come with consequences.
You're not going to stay in that managerial position if you messed up, right?
Exactly.
Like you're very much going to be promoted, and you have to be okay with just existing in the world.
You have to recognize your wrongdoing deep enough that you know that that's going to come with it and still make the choice. To do better.
And that's hard. I think that's real hard. I think that kind of gets to, well, we'll get to it, but Sauron almost repents and he felt real shame, right? But ultimately he refuses because he's prideful. He doesn't want to lose, maybe he doesn't want to lose the power. Maybe he doesn't want to go through the awkwardness of it all. But
hot take. I actually think he was afraid.
You think he was afraid?
Yeah.
Ooh, we'll have to talk about that in a bit. I also have free will, right? And I think this is kind of similar to what you just said. Like you can't be compelled towards redemption. Like you really have to take it.
You can't be forced
or like, here's the path laid out for you. Like just take the steps and you're good. No, like you have to choose in the depths of your soul. Grace is offered.
Right.
It's not imposed, right?
Okay. So what are some of the reasons that the characters refuse redemption?
Maybe pride, maybe desire, lack of power, maybe afraid. Maybe they just didn't see the opportunity being given to them in some cases.
Well, just an inability to recognize like their own actions.
Yeah, there's not like an eagle calling out, being like, this is your chance, bro. Like, you gotta, they might be subtle.
That's why I had self-awareness, because you have to actually recognize your own actions.
I think also like the role of mercy, I won't say like full third-party intervention, but the role of mercy from others has the ability to guide you towards either the awareness where you can accept it and recognize the opportunity, or kind of nudge you down the path towards genuine repentance. Or like in the other way, the wrong third-party intervention can nudge you in the direction of not being able to take the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can be influenced in positive or negative ways down whatever path that they are ultimately going to choose.
It's tough.
It might be who is next to you as you're having these realizations.
Yeah, who are literally the angel and the devil on your shoulder telling you what the choices to make. It's a tricky one. I don't know if I would make the right choice in Tolkien's world. It's a complicated system.
Well, looking at my own life, I can see times when I did not recognize when I needed to have more humility or just recognize the wrongdoing. But I like to think, we all like to think that we're going to choose right. But
when we were talking and researching this episode, for me, I know we framed it as who deserves a second chance. But I actually think maybe a better way or more interesting question was who actually accepts that second chance?
Yes.
Because in Tolkien's world, like you don't earn a second chance, you accept it. The Valar offer chances freely. The real problem stemmed from refusal and who's actually willing to receive it and at what cost? Like,
I really
is it going to cost
me
my promotion? Is it going to cost me my power and all of that? Oh, maybe. Well,
I don't want to lose it. Yeah.
Then maybe you don't accept it, so you don't deserve it.
Yeah. Because I think you're right. Most of these characters we're going to talk about are actually given chances and either refuse or accept.
Which makes it almost more heartbreaking in a way, too. You're like, it was there.
Yeah. You didn't take it. All you had to do was take it.
I know, we make it sound so simple, but...
Right. So do we want to dive into the unsuccessful chances at redemption?
Yeah, the redemption fails, if you will.
Yeah,
I'd love to, because it's really made me think a lot. I mean, every time we do this, it makes me think deeper about the books, but this in particular, I think, made me
so many good examples.
More pity and also more frustration at certain characters.
Well, we could start with the big baddie.
The big baddie? Boom,
Morgoth.
Boom.
Melkor Morgoth.
Melkor / Morgoth.
Boom.
He
did get a chance of redemption.
He gets pardoned.
Right. I mean, he did a jail sentence.
Do anything with
and
it.
they were like, hey, did you learn your lesson?
He's like, yep.
Yep, sure did.
Totally being truthful right now. Immediately proceeds to corrupt Middle-earth further.
Right.
Yeah.
So he obviously did not take his chance at redemption, but he was given it by the Valar, or by Eru.
By Eru and Manwë.
Yeah. Interruption tangent.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Manwë and Eru?
Eru Ilúvatar is the one.
The one, yeah.
Manwë works for him. He's the head of the Valar.
Okay.
But he ain't the number one.
Okay, got it.
He's like the top deputy.
Got it.
Yeah.
Number 1 and number 2 are telling Melkor,
genuinely, yeah.
Have you repented? Like, you've done your service or your sentence. He's free to go again.
Yeah, like, they're pretty chill about it, all things considered.
Considering the evil that he did, I thought that they were very nice to trust that he was actually remorseful.
And I think they seem genuine. It isn't like they're trying to catch him in, like, we know you're going to do bad again. They seem genuine in offering the pardon, the chance at redemption. And Melkor's just like, nope, going to do more bad things.
Yeah, I mean, he was very deceitful in that he bided his time for a long time, pretending to be good. Many.
Beyond the counting of years, if you will.
Yeah. No, these are elves we're talking about.
But to your question earlier, why do you think he was irredeemable? Do you think he genuinely thought that these people weren't good and he could do better in the world? Do you think he was slighted by Eru and it's kind of Eru's fault? Like, why do you think?
I don't think it was Eru's fault. I think it was so within him, and like just his personality was such.
But Eru made him. So did Eru make that personality?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it's all Eru's fault in a way. Yeah.
This is getting back to my Melkor.
It was in his genes. Which, if Eru made his genes, then yeah.
Whose fault is it? No, I
had some questions here. Like, would life have been too good in Middle-earth without the presence of Melkor and his havoc wreaking?
That sounds boring and very safe. So I don't know. I kind of want that version.
No, it does sound very nice. I'm not saying there wouldn't be a story.
Need a little danger in your life.
And I think this is, forget which episode I touched on it, where the evil that's within Morgoth is actually part of Eru. It just kind of points to that evil is part of the world. And it is. I don't think that there would be a perfect world without it.
I'm sitting here like, well, then some things are ultimately irredeemable, or, well, that's not fair. What if you happen to be one of the beings that is gifted with more evil that just is than others? Like, seems like you didn't get a fair shot at the universe.
Yeah. I'm just trying to imagine right now Morgoth actually repenting and whether it's possible for that guy to do it.
I mean, if he didn't take it in the first stage, I don't think he can ever.
There's no going back.
What would change his mind?
But like that chance that he got, if he actually...
Chances, yeah. Then he sings and everybody goes and cleans up the discord he created. And
yeah,
I feel like a lot of the first age would be way more chill. I mean, maybe Feanor still makes the Silmarils, and maybe Ungoliant just messes things up herself. Like, it's pure evil versus corrupted.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
There would still be like the nameless things present. Yeah.
Well, they're still around because he sung them into existence, right? So
I have an interesting question that can lead into our next guy. So if Sauron prefers order over necessarily evil itself, then in a world with no Morgoth and such like pure evil in it, would Sauron's versions of order be as extreme?
Ooh.
Like, would he have been as evil without Morgoth's presence? Well,
if you think of Morgoth as an influence on him, maybe. I almost see Morgoth he's like chaotic evil. Like, he's like, I'm going to do all the things and make things crazy.
Right.
Sauron is much more lawful evil. If we're using those tropes where he has a plan and he sees that he's bringing order and structure and he's trying to make the world better according to his standards. So if you don't have the strong third-party influence of Morgoth, I don't know. I could see it going two ways. I could see him almost being worse because there's less to constrain his ideas. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That he would have been more free to think of his own evil. Or maybe he takes the place that Morgoth doesn't fulfill. Like, maybe there's always going to be that bad guy. Like, regardless, and maybe it just happens sooner because Morgoth is like, I'm good now. And they're like, okay. And then Sauron somehow is corrupted. I don't know. Yeah. It's a tricky one because Sauron... It's just an interesting question. It's like that Russian book that's basically written from the perspective of Sauron and the orcs. It's like
Oh,
he's just misunderstood. And,
right.
He's really just bringing order and technology advancement to the world, which obviously I disagree with. But, there's an argument to be made there that depending on the influences, his need for order could be used for good, potentially, and help clean up the world from Morgoth.
Right. Like if he didn't know such evil, he could still be trying to create order, but maybe it's just not in such an evil fashion.
Yeah.
Of like destroying humanity as it currently exists.
Yeah, he kind of still messes that one up. So while we're talking about Sauron, I think he's the most sophisticated case that Tolkien makes for failed redemption.
I agree. Because he definitely gets one big offer at redemption.
Yeah.
Does he get multiple or just the one?
It's just when Morgoth falls for real. Like,
right.
He's kind of offered a chance.
Is that when he puts on like a fair hue again? And he's kind of given a chance at that point, and that's where he somewhat repents?
I know that that's the version that the creators of Rings of Power are drawing from in the lore and in some of Tolkien's letters, in terms of he pleads his case and allegedly at least has the facade of redemption at the end of the First Age. And we know that's not the case because then he goes back to Middle-earth and mucks about.
Because let me read this quote.
Yeah.
And some hold that this was not at first falsely done, like his repentance.
Yeah.
But that Sauron in truth repented, if only out of fear. Do you recognize that?
So I think Sauron's big chance is the end of the First Age that you described, right? Where they're like, hey, buddy,
right,
now the War of Wrath is over and your boss is defeated permanently.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to reconsider your actions?
And it sounds like out of fear, he really did try to repent.
But it's out of fear, right? And then that gets to our early discussion is I don't think that's the right opportunity to be truly redeemed. You're not doing it out of like truly feeling it. You're like, I'm afraid. Well,
right.
Then you're not going to be redeemed.
Yeah, he didn't change himself or recognize anything. It's just, I have to change. Otherwise, they're going to hurt me.
They're going to throw me into the permanent
they're going to destroy me too.
Right. Like, and that doesn't create the conditions. And like, who knows? Maybe that's kind of on the Valar too for creating conditions where he didn't feel like he truly could be redeemed. But maybe I feel like it's on him.
It sounds like to be truly redeemed, he would have had to return to Valinor, like to the gods, and repent.
I don't think he wanted to do that.
No, well, he decided against going back.
Yeah.
And stayed in Middle-earth. And he did try to like help with the rehabilitation of Middle-earth, but it was basically over time he kind of dropped the facade and turned into his usual self.
It feels like a high-end boss or something that's caught and sent to jail and then does that like notional community work that doesn't really they have to do
community
it, but they're
service.
like, I don't really believe in this community service and I'm going to go move back into my mansion when this is all over. It kind of feels like that a little bit.
Yeah. But there still wasn't the true like self-awareness and humility.
There's no humility. There's no true repentance.
It's like, I'll be better because I have to be.
Yeah, I'll be better because I have to be is not the motivation.
And I don't want you to kill me.
Yeah, but again, can't be compelled. I don't think it can be compelled like that. Like fear is not ultimately what gets you to at least Tolkien's state of true redemption. So Sauron, I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, no, I don't feel bad for him.
Don't feel bad for him. Don't be a Sauron fangirl. No. He's even if he'd been given like a true chance at the end of the Second Age, because he's too scaredy cat to return at the end of the First Age, that kind of seals it for him. Like I think Manwë's being honest again. He's like, show up for your judgment.
Yeah.
We'll sort this out. And
I think he would have actually gotten a true second chance if you'd really,
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a second chance on his terms to get to your idea of like pride and other things.
Exactly. He would have had to give up not just, his power, but his whole idea of what he was going to do in Middle-earth.
Yeah, maybe Manwë's judgment is Sauron gets to hang out and time out in the halls of Mandos forever. Like, if he's not willing to accept all possible outcomes of his actions, then he's not truly repentant.
You know, I had this in my list of things of the people that don't accept the redemption. There's a loss of control that you have to accept.
Yeah.
Where like Sauron wouldn't be able to control what he would have to do afterwards, or even what his punishment would be. He ultimately chose to stay in Middle-earth and basically redeem himself in his own way, but he redemption doesn't work if you don't give up that control.
No, you're 100% right. I was thinking in a similar vein, you have to accept, like, true repentance requires that you accept the consequences of what and who you were, not just that you were those things, like, oh, I'm just going to stop being it, but the consequences of what that means. Like, some people are like, I won't be that anymore.
Right.
Well, you have to accept the consequences of what being that meant.
Right.
And a lot of people are not comfortable with that, even in real life, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's fun. I'm still not a Sauron fan.
No, I'm not trying to be a Sauron fan. But I can see, like, if your big boss just got obliterated.
You assume you're about to be obliterated too, right?
Absolutely. And I can imagine the fear, and you're probably not, it's not the conditions for true recognition of your own, own faults.
Yep. You have to accept whatever is given to you in whatever form. Yeah, he was not. It's fine. We got to have a bad guy in a story, right?
Exactly. Speaking of bad guys,
there's a theme here with all the people that are failing the redemption. The third baddest baddie?
I have Saruman next on my list. Who do you have?
Saruman. His case really frustrated me because...
How many chances did he get? 8?
So many. I mean, I think I said 8 in the intro. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Gandalf gave him most of those chances.
Yeah, he gets more than most other characters.
He's like, come on, man.
Well, at least he gets the number, like we see explicitly in the text. We see more chances with him. But he's like the definitive case of rejecting every possible opportunity given to you for redemption. And whether it's pride, whether it's, I don't know, man, Saruman really made some poor choices and doubles down on them every time they're brought up to him.
Yeah.
I hate to say it like that.
Not that Sauron and Morgoth were also not full of themselves, but Saruman to me is, like, that's his problem. He thought that he could compete with Sauron and win in the end. He saw himself as better than all the other wizards and everyone in Middle-earth. And he wanted to rule everyone because he thought he was the best.
It's so frustrating because, look, say what you will about Melkor Morgoth, like, set up for failure or not, like, he's pretty bad from the beginning.
Well, he also was pretty full of himself.
He was pretty full of himself. Sauron's pretty bad from the beginning. Saruman's frustrating to me because he could have been. He's the Astari. He's sent as an emissary of Manwë to, like, right the wrongs of those 2 previous baddies.
Right.
And it's almost a worse betrayal for me.
You were supposed to be good.
You were supposed to be good. Like, you really missed. I don't know if we read maybe he had a different job description, but, like, it's so frustrating for me because we don't know exactly when it happened.
They made the wrong call of sending Saruman.
Right. And, like,
were there no red flags before sending him?
Who was on the HR committee that screened this guy before he accepted the job? So many questions. No, right. Even Gandalf says, and he kind of says it in the movies too, like, he was the best of our order. He knew all the things. At some point, I think he was good.
Yeah, that's true.
It's heartbreaking to see his fall, but then when he falls, he just is like...
He went all in.
He went all in, man. It's the pride and the covetousness, and we assume he's been corrupt for a bit by the time Gandalf runs into him in Fellowship of the Ring and gets captured, but how far back does it go? How long
was
has he
it
been,
a slow build? Was it... Obviously, it was done in secret, and so he was keeping a lot of thoughts to himself rather than showing it.
Yeah. I mean, he's given genuine chances at redemption by Gandalf, and he's just like, not no, but F no. And Galadriel apparently implicitly offers him a thing, and I don't have a lot on that, but in my research, it seems like, I don't know, through the power of the rings, that, like, her realizing what's going on, like, she also kind of is like, hey, man. And I don't know if it's like reaching out for Lothlorien or at the end of the book. I need to go back to my notes on that.
When that was.
I think it's later on. I think it's after he flees, actually, and they're talking about it, like, because, in the books, she and them show up to Aragorn's wedding and stuff. Anyway, but either way, so he's given, like, a couple explicit chances by Gandalf when he's up in the tower, and he's just like, you can show yourself the door.
Right.
I'm living this life now. And then Frodo basically and Gandalf show up again at the Scouring of the Shire, and he's just like, nah.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think too, like, how big of a wake-up call would it take for Saruman to choose redemption? Because in a way, he was given so many examples of how he wasn't the greatest, like he thought. I mean, he was defeated at Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
At Orthanc twice by Treebeard, and then Gandalf breaking his staff.
Yep.
And even the hobbits defeated Saruman in the end. And so if even hobbits
How many more
Beating you.
humiliations do you need?
Yeah. Then nothing was going to
Yeah.
save Saruman.
It's crazy to me. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's so stuck on the idea of him being the smartest and the most powerful that he cannot let them go when literally all signs, including a band of hobbits, are pointing to that not being the case.
He's a stubborn wizard.
He's really stubborn. He like can't conceive of a version of himself that's not the most powerful at this point in time.
Right.
How did that
Even in the
happen?
face of being defeated by everyone.
Yeah, in the muddy, dirty, trees chopped down Shire with nothing around him, he's like, no, I'm still
the greatest.
Sir,
Yeah.
you are not at this point in time. It's a failure to recognize.
Yeah. Lack of self-awareness.
Oh my gosh, he's so not aware. He's so not aware. It's really sad. Like, Saruman is really sad for me.
I agree.
I know in the movies he falls under the spike in front of Orthanc and that's sad. But in the books, I think it's more tragic that he still tries to do all these evil machinations and tries to... So he didn't have his giant army of Uruk-hai and take over and work with Sauron. So he tries to create a really sad, tiny, half-assed version of that in the Shire, and that still doesn't work out. And he's still like, no! And then he gets stabbed by Grima there. And it's a pitiful end. And I don't think he's welcome. I don't think his spirit is welcomed back to the halls of Mandos.
I hope not. It's like, no, man.
His spirit kind of flies off and then they're like, nope, like, you are not welcome here.
Yeah.
I think there is a quote about his spirit rising almost as a smoke after he's killed. And that to me signifies that he wasn't granted access to Valinor.
Yeah, didn't he like kind of dissolve into just a puddle of clothes?
Oh, what a world, what a world. No, maybe, but like it's not what you would expect for a Maiar.
Right.
It's like they just go back, right? No, this seems much darker.
Yeah, you're right. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's what an evil person would do, just kind of melt into thing.
This is Wicked Witch of the West vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, man, take your chances. When you were given that many, take your chances, man.
Take one of those.
Please. Well, he would have to genuinely be, again, per our early example, also genuinely be okay with the consequences and be truly rude. I don't think he was capable of that at that point.
But man, I could, because we saw him being, quote, good, you know, before he was outward.
We hear descriptions of him being good, at least, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. Where I can imagine him as a redeemed character that took responsibility and could even become respected again.
Yeah. Clean up this mess. Be the true leader and insightful Istari that you were meant. No.
Down a couple pegs and under Gandalf, but
and you get demoted when you make bad decisions. No,
exactly.
It's a tough one. No, he could never accept being under Gandalf, I think. So
sad.
Sorry, Saruman. Poor choices.
Who else we got?
I have Denethor.
Well, yeah, I've got Denethor.
He's...
Tell me about it.
Well, he's not evil in the way Sauron or Saruman is, but for me, it's almost... Don't know what all the sins are. I remember some of them. I don't remember if despair is on them, but to me, he comes across as like the poster child for despair is almost a sin. You can't let it take that much hold of you. You have to push through it because...
He let it consume him.
He let it absolutely consume him, right? It's a spiritual failure. Yeah, maybe he's been corrupted by the Palantir because we know he's a tough dude. He can hold his own mentally with Sauron in the Palantir, which there's like 3 people who can do him, Aragorn, and Gandalf.
Right.
So he's not
weak.
Weak of will.
Right.
Initially, at least, but between what Sauron shows him and concluding that defeat is inevitable and giving into despair, there's a line from Gandalf, and I have it here. Denethor's line to Gandalf, where he's like, "You may triumph on the fields of Pelennor for a day, but against the power that has now arisen, there is no victory." So, like, he completely believes there is no hope left.
Why even bother?
Full of despair. Why bother? And he gives into that. He doesn't find courage. He doesn't push through. He doesn't find hope. He doesn't kind of try to hold on to something like Sam would tell Frodo to do.
Right. There's good in this world.
There's good in this world. We gotta hold on. And it's worth holding on to. I love that line. I see his chance. So two things. He gives into despair, which is a moral failing, I think, in this world.
Yeah.
And then he's given a chance to find hope one last time with Faramir. Like, to me, that's the gift that's given to him. Faramir isn't dead. Faramir should absolutely be dead. And he's holding on to, like, tiniest bit of life. And then Denethor is so full of despair, so far gone, that he doesn't seize this chance to, like, here's something great that we can hold on to, and I can save my son, and we can come out of this despair. And he's like, nope, burn it all down.
That just hit me extra hard the way you're describing it. Because you're right. Like, even seeing his son still alive didn't wake him up.
No, it's so sad. It's so but again, like
that one's a really sad one for me because in the books, there were so many times, and I guess the movies too, but it was more obvious in the books, I think, when he was telling the army to abandon their posts.
Yes.
I'm like, no, stop.
You're not helping.
Saying that.
You're not helping here.
Yeah.
He's tough. Like, Saruman, I just kind of get angry at because he's so prideful. Denethor is really...
That one's sad.
Like, I want him to see his son and finally feel that spark he hasn't felt in so long.
Well,
and he doesn't.
Because kind of in the movies, when Farmer opens his eyes...
Oh, at the very end.
He does, like...
Yeah.
Movie Denethor does kind of wake up, but he's already on fire and it's too late.
Well,
but
it's
book
too late for him.
Denethor, I don't think has that moment.
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
And he's definitely, like, he's clearly not saved because he gives into this and burns himself and self-immolates and that's it. So...
Yeah, it's strange because in the book Denethor, while he didn't have that moment of redemption, there is a part of me, I think they give more history to Denethor and give this air to him that he is very powerful.
He feels like a Numenorian in the books, which I wish they'd done in the movies.
So I'm able to imagine book Denethor a little bit more clearly, like choosing redemption. But at the same time, movie Denethor does, well, I don't know if he really chooses it.
He has a moment of realization, but I think it's too late.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. Oh, crap. We've made our choices.
Yeah. I have a thought, though. Because we know that his mind was corrupted over time by Sauron through the Palantir.
Was it fully because of Sauron, or was he just...
Was he already susceptible? You know?
I don't know. He's a man. Men are weak.
Men are weak.
Men are weak.
Which we're going to have an episode on, I think.
Yeah.
So my thought was, if his favoritism towards Boromir was at least somewhat caused by the corruption through the Palantir, did it change what he valued in a person? It seems like he starts valuing strength over wisdom.
Yeah.
And that's why he favored Boromir over Faramir, and also why he did not value Gandalf and his...
wise words.
Yeah, exactly. That he values strength over wisdom.
Well, I would say that because Denethor is a very smart person and knows his history, and he has access to the Palantir, that he's seen that despite all the wise people and all the things that have happened in the previous few centuries or ages, Sauron is still coming back. So Boromir maybe represents, and this is me completely spitballing here, Boromir represents what he sees as his last hope. And this is going to sound really sad, but the physical action and might maybe was the only thing that Denethor thought could truly stop Sauron at this point, because he's like, if all these wise people...
Or Sauron or Saruman?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sauron. If all these wise people of the centuries haven't been able to get rid of Sauron with all the things they've done, maybe just fighting him and ultimately defeating him is the only way. Because if you look back to your history, like, it took the Valar showing up and fighting Melkor for him to be finally defeated. But where I'm going with this is Boromir dying is where Denethor's hope truly dies, and that I don't think he can be redeemed after Boromir dies.
Yeah.
Like that, like, because Boromir represented the one thing he thought could maybe work, and Boromir's gone. Like, that's it.
Right. What's wisdom going to do?
He fully what's wisdom going to do? Like, our might and our strength is, he was our last chance, and now he died doing what? Fighting some Uruk-hai in a forest?
I mean, I can see the logic behind Denethor's reasoning.
He's on the front lines. It's stressful down there.
Right. I mean, I can see why it seems so hopeless. But still, man, you got to fight to the end and have hope. Yeah.
Gosh darn it, if Sam can carry Frodo up the slopes of Mount Doom, you can see a spark in your son Faramir's eye and remember that there is still goodness in this world and not self-immolate. But here we are. That's not how it goes. So,
no,
fail.
Actually not. Well, next on our list, I think is kind of a not quite redeemed, but it's kind of a middle.
Like an edge case, yeah.
Is this our good friend Gollum we're talking about?
I actually have Grima Wormtongue before we get to Gollum, because I think Gollum's probably the most complex. But Grima was really hard for me. It wasn't as heartbreaking as Denethor, but Grima messes up. He chose to betray his people and serve Saruman. So
just to remind everybody, Grima / Wormtongue is Saruman's kind of right-hand guy.
He's he's portrayed as such, and he's the one that he turns him against the people of the Rittermark and Theoden, and he's like his inside man.
Inside man, yeah.
In Meduseld. if you will. I mean, he
Slimy guy.
He has power
Greasy
through
guy.
Saruman. Yeah, greasy. So Grima chooses his corruption. He chooses to serve Saruman. He chooses to betray Theoden and his people and spew the magic of the corrupting words of Saruman. It's not looking good in terms of his choices for redemption here, because he wasn't an outside force.
Actively choosing all the time.
You chose, are we the baddies here? Yes, you are the baddies. Like, but
what he saw in Saruman, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Well, I don't know. Maybe power, knowledge. Maybe he got a glimpse of the good Saruman, and that was enough to convince him.
Well, that's true.
He was
might
worth
have been
following.
Exposed to the better Saruman for a long time, and it's like, oh, that guy's wise, so he must know.
He must know, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
bad choice, dude.
Bad choices. But Grima kind of has, again, he's given. Well, not given. There's 2 moments in the books where he has a shot at redemption, maybe. The first of which is when he and Saruman are holed up at Orthanc after they've been defeated, and Treebeard's got them all pinned up, and Gandalf and Theoden and the crew show up. Everything's flooded, and Gandalf is having his little chat ski with Saruman.
And he gives both of them pretty much the chance for redemption, right?
Yeah, I think that we were talking, the line that Theoden says in the movies maybe doesn't happen in the books. We think that happens. Frodo actually says that later. But either way, he also has free will. Like, he can leave Orthanc. Yeah. Technically, he doesn't have to stay holed up with Saruman. So, like, nothing's stopping him from walking out and being like, I repent. Doesn't do it. But he does throw a palantir.
Oh, yeah. Like throwing the stone, and it's not clear whether it's thrown at Saruman or trying to hit Gandalf down below.
Yeah, the text leaves it deliciously ambiguous, where maybe Grima was trying to hit Saruman.
So he may have been seeing
the error of his ways and also trying to help, maybe.
But I think he feels stuck, is what I get the impression, is that he's kind of wants to be on the good side, but just feels he's not a strong enough willed guy to stand up to Saruman until the very literal end.
Well, actually, I'm gonna rescind my previous. He actually has 3 chances if you consider Theoden letting him go. Yeah,
I was just thinking of that one where Theoden says pretty much, "We'll see where he goes." You know, I'm not going to kill him. He can make his choices from here, and let's see if he goes back to Saruman, which he did.
Which he did, instead of fighting with them at Helm's Deep. Yeah, he didn't accept the consequences of his actions again. So he fails that time.
At least 3 chances.
Maybe he tries to kill Saruman with the Palantir. Maybe not. The text leaves it like it hit the railing where Saruman just was, and was that bad aim? Was he really trying to hit Gandalf? Who knows? We'll never know.
It's like a quarreling couple or something.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what they're doing up there, but
doesn't look great. And then at the very, very end of the books, in the Scouring of the Shire, because we're doing books, this doesn't happen in the movies at all. Frodo offers him that last chance where he's like, you don't need to follow him. You've done enough evil. Come away. And at least the book says that Grima hesitates. So there's that pull, right? We talk about that third party influence. There's that pull of maybe. And then Sauron immediately comes in and like belittles him and accuses him of murder, and like
it finally fuels the fire within Wormtongue to get angry enough to actually
kill Saruman. Yeah, he did miss that time. Definitely hit him with a dagger a few times, and then he's killed. Grima runs away and is killed by Hobbit archers. So it's a horrible, sad end.
Wormtongue is a sad character to me because he's just overall he's a slimy guy that he's not a strong character. He's kind of just latching onto other strong.
I pity him. He doesn't have the core moral sense and direction. Fortitude. Yeah, his moral compass is a little out of whack. Yeah, if you would say. So
Gollum
goes both ways, man. He's not a full fail. He's definitely not a full redemption either. He kind of sits in the middle for me.
For me, he's actually more on the failure side.
Well, that'd be in line with what Tolkien said. Tolkien says he is not saved, so we at least have his views on what actually happened.
But he wasn't redeemed. He got lucky. Well, I don't know if lucky is the right word.
Well, the conditions were present and also given through the actions of others. The pity of Bilbo and the pity of Frodo, and Frodo eventually convincing Sam not to murder him. So that allowed him to exist until the end, when this happy coincidence, aka eucastrophe, happens, right? Like what I think that term was coined, and when Tolkien was describing like sort of a joyous thing that you didn't expect to happen, that's textbook Gollum and the ring at the end of Mount Doom.
Yeah, like kind of tripping / did the wind push him in?
did a strong gust from the eagle's wings? No.
Right.
The breath of Manwë? No, it's exactly that. He didn't mean to fall into the lava.
But great.
But great, we're all saved and the ring is destroyed by happy accident.
Right.
Eucastrophe. Yeah, but again, he's around at the end because of other choices.
And I guess he was, in some instances, redeemed enough, like you said, to get that far.
Yeah.
Like Frodo and Bilbo having pity and showing him kindness did lead to him having better behavior.
And we talk about free will and being aware. I don't know if it's truly two personalities, bipolar, two different beings existing within him, but the Smeagol side of him has enough free will left to make some choices to truly help Frodo and Sam.
Okay. So, because I may have been thinking of this from the Gollum point of view rather than Smeagol, is like, how much did Smeagol really see his deeds? I guess do we not know?
We don't have a whole lot from him in the text, but we see how he reacts to receiving recognition from Frodo seeing him, from praise, from doing good things. Like, now, again, is it trying to get the ring? That's what you're going with that, right?
Yeah, because I was like, this is why I don't actually think that he was truly redeemed, because his redemption and his good deeds are so incredibly fragile. Like, it depends wholly on being treated kindly and perfectly by others, to Gollum standards. Like as soon as somebody says a bad word about him or treats him in a way that is actually, he's not necessarily treated good all the time, but
he's shown mercy and grace, which he hasn't gotten a lot of in his life.
But like his own actions lead to some consequences by those around him is kind of what I'm getting at, where like if it was true redemption, and if he had that deeper sense of self-awareness where like he recognizes his actions have been leading to his condition, blah, 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 then I think if Sam calls him a name, instead of that ruining all of his current redemption, it would still hold. And he would be like, yeah, I deserve that.
Yeah, he's not resilient enough to weather or maybe there's not enough of Smeagol left thanks to the ring and his other previous choices, right?
Because Smeagol is so fragile also that, that's partly why he's taken over by Gollum.
Yeah.
He's not really strong enough to stand on his own sense of morality.
No, he is not. It's a tough one, right? Like, because Gollum destroys the ring, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
He
kind of by luck
accidentally succeeds where Frodo does not. But he's not willing to accept, like, I can't remember if it's in the books, but like in the movie where Frodo's like, we have to destroy the ring, Gollum freaks out a bit, right? He can't accept the consequences of what needs to happen. And I think that's a good chance, like him truly helping them and wanting to do it for the purpose of destroying the ring, that version of Gollum would get saved.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist.
He can't see that whole picture. He's very reactive to all this stuff.
It makes me sad.
I know.
Yeah, Tolkien said he wasn't saved, but here's an interesting one. I'm trying to find the exact quote, but I have in my notes that Tolkien says that Gollum was not saved, but that he was allowed to be the instrument of salvation. So he did enough good things, or enough good things happened, that the Valar and the Fates or whatever,
and even the people around him, like you said.
And the people around him, that he's given the chance to accidentally fall into the cracks of doom.
Yeah.
And there's that to me implies that there's a version where there's not enough good things that happen and Gollum Smeagol doesn't do enough good things, that he's not even allowed to be the instrument of salvation and the world plunges into darkness.
Yeah.
So he got part of the way there. That's what I see.
Fair.
That's why I see him as an edge case. He fails. He covets the ring. He falls into Mount Doom. But the fact that he was allowed to be there and have that eucastrophe happen signals that, like,
there was enough goodness.
There was enough goodness that he's at least allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And not truly be saved, which is sad face. But
too bad the Smeagol part of him wasn't stronger, because maybe we would have gotten to that point at some point.
Be strong. Don't be like Denethor and Smeagol.
Whew. So,
yeah.
Are we into the successful people? The list is much shorter for this.
Well, I don't know what that says, but the world feels real and fraught with danger. And if everybody succeeds and is redeemed, then that's just the boring world where Melkor doesn't exist and I'm happily living in. But
right.
Who you got?
Everybody's favorite, Boromir.
He's pretty awesome. We love Boromir. I know he's painted as a villain, but he's really the hero that Middle-earth deserves, and he shows his quality in the end pretty clearly.
I wish that we had more. I wish that he didn't get shot full of arrows and that we could have seen his redemption path.
But that is his redemption path, right?
Oh, okay.
Well, I won't say that. Boromir is definitely the clearest. To me, he's like the clearest case of redemption. Like, he falls, he messes up,
and he sees it pretty immediately.
He immediately sees that he messed up. He says out loud that he messed up and tells Aragorn that he tried to take the ring from Frodo. Like, there's no ambiguity. He recognizes his mistake. He articulates his mistake, and then he is immediately given the chance through happy circumstance that, oh no, we're all being attacked and people are in danger, and he has a chance to immediately show a different course, and he does it, and he dies. So Boromir, our boy, recognizes his mistake, but isn't completely honest the first time.
Well, yeah, so in the books, which is not really shown in the movies, like Boromir kind of walks back into the camp and...
Like immediately after he's confronted Frodo and done all this, right?
Yeah. So he goes back to the camp and I think sees Frodo still not there. Like, he's like, oh, Frodo didn't come back.
Whoopsies.
And Aragorn's kind of like, hey, where have you been? He's like, oh, just off in the woods.
Had a chat with Frodo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did say I had a chat with Frodo and tried to get him to go to Minas Tirith. And Aragorn's kind of side-eyeing him.
Like is that all? Yes.
Yeah. So I'll say no more right now.
No, but that's interesting to me because obviously movie version, we just have, he goes off and fights for Merry and Pippin, and then Aragorn talks to him as he's dying.
Afterwards, yeah.
But in the book, it's really interesting that he has that moment where he could have told Aragorn exactly what happened, and he chooses
he could have fessed up right then.
Not to. So to me, that's almost jeopardizing his chances at redemption before he does the right thing.
It kind of gives the impression when he says, I'll say no more right now. It's kind of like he wants to confess, but I don't know.
Timing.
Like, something's holding him back from confessing. What would have happened if he had admitted it right then?
I don't know. I mean, Aragorn would have been real angry, but maybe he wouldn't have died. Maybe that's the version where Boromir doesn't die.
Oh,
that makes me sad because I was like, I want more. I want Boromir not to die.
Not too much would change either way in terms of they all go run off to look for Frodo.
Yes. And that creates the chaos so much that Uruk-hai show up.
Everybody's separated, blah, blah, blah. But that would have happened regardless of whether he admitted to it or not. But I do wonder now, would he have lived if he had fessed up right in the moment?
Or does that change their search plan where they're together and not separated, and he can talk about where they were and they search for Frodo where he's not like...
Right. Because, he could have helped him. Like, I last saw him over here.
Maybe. Well,
I don't know.
Oh, so close. Yes. But Boromir does redeem himself.
He does admit to all this in the end, though.
Yes.
He saw all of his misdeeds. He did have to forgive himself, but that was after Aragorn kind of gave him permission.
Yes.
And it was like, you fought bravely.
Yes.
And he kind of accepts it. You see him sigh and like wants to hold his sword, and he's kind of like, all right, this is it.
And he straight up says, I tried to take the ring from Frodo and I'm sorry, which he's able to articulate what he did wrong. It's his dying confession. It's very unambiguous. So I think he makes sure he doesn't hold back when he does get the chance to talk to Aragorn. And then I think Aragorn's response to him, you're right, he gives him the opportunity to be okay with himself, to be okay with the consequences. He doesn't judge him. And he even says, few have gained such a victory, be at peace. And I don't know if Aragorn is referring to the victory of defeating all the Uruk-hai or the victory of recognizing your mistake and having a clear conscience. Gonna throw that one in there.
I just got chills because
right?
I kind of think it's the second one.
I think it's the second one, knowing Aragorn. Because if he already suspected something in the beginning, he's like...
Actually, no, it totally is.
Yeah.
Like, he was feeling such guilt. He was very upset during that scene. And yeah, it was absolutely be at peace. Like,
you did the right thing.
You're okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
Stop wrestling with your conscience. Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Be a Boromir. I mean, don't die full of arrows, but be a Boromir.
Confess earlier.
Confess and be okay with the consequences, and don't beat yourself up, and recognize when an opportunity is given to do the right thing. And
it's the don't beat yourself up over it.
Don't beat yourself up over it. Like the fact that it takes Aragorn letting him know it's okay. Because we all struggle with stuff like that.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves up over it and we feel guilty and it doesn't feel like you've deserved it.
Everyone can tell me
any day. You're going to like get yourself shot full of arrows just so everyone can tell you it's okay.
I mean,
please don't.
I'd rather not have
Please
to get
don't.
shot full of arrows. Anyway,
any Hoosers, be a Boromir.
So who's next on our redemption?
I've got two interesting cases, and one is Theoden, which
he's my next one too.
On the surface, I don't know if he's someone that everybody thinks of as a redemption case, but
it's a minor redemption.
It's a minor redemption, but he has some pretty epic. The ending is pretty epic. He allows his rule to fail. He allows himself to be corrupted by Saruman through Grima.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the advice of someone he doesn't trust. His moral compass gets out of whack and he trusts the wrong people and doesn't treat his family right. So he makes some poor choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes Gandalf, a very powerful being, to come through, break the spell. So he got really lucky that even happened. Like if that hadn't happened, like that would have been it.
He just would have kept going down the same path, I think.
So like Gandalf is his second chance. Even though it involves some external things, right?
And it kind of involves some magic, too.
Some pretty powerful magic.
It's like
I know
somebody
it
just
like
hitting. It's literally somebody smacking you in the head like, come on, man.
But like magic smack in the head. Yeah, exactly. So like, again, he's not guilty in the way Boromir is. He's not tempted by the ring. He's not full of despair like Denethor is. But
it's a slow, over time kind of
corruption.
Cursed by choice. Like,
cursed by his choices. And we don't know how long Grimm has been whispering his ear. It's implied a while, but we don't have...
I'm thinking at least years.
Either way, at the end of the day, his subsequent arc is choosing to act with the agency that he's been given. Like, he wasn't sure he was granted a second chance. And frankly, he could have turned rule over to Éomer and retired and not fought. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a scene where it's debated whether or not he should even go to Pelennor Field to ride all that way. And he's like, nah, I'm going. Yeah. It's happening.
Well, yeah, was it about his age or something? Oh, you're kind of... You're a king, you're kind of old, like...
You're good. And he's like, no, I want to have a glorious end, which is a choice. And I think he chooses to ride to Gondor when he didn't have to, and he dies in an act of choosing to save others. And I mean, his last words to Éowyn, they're so good. Where he's like, I go to my fathers, and even in their mighty company, I shall not now be ashamed. Right? Mm-hmm. So like he recognizes that he messed up and he has redeemed himself and he did good at the end.
He did a lot of good choices where he was kind of like, well, where was Gondor when the Westfold fell? Where he could have gone that direction of being like
judgy and vindictive.
Yeah, we're not going to go down to save Gondor because they didn't save us, but
gotta be selfless, man.
But then he chose to do it. And he made, I think, a couple of those choices essentially where, no, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to go.
Do the right thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, be a Theoden.
Be a Theoden. Again, short little arc, but I think it's hugely impactful to the books. The fact that the Rohirrim
brought
show
the
up.
Best scene in the history of
the history of the English language. Thank you, Theoden, for choosing to do the right thing because now we have the passage of the Ride of the Rohirrim.
Right.
Which lives on in infinity. Oh, it's so good.
Anyway,
I think we had Thorin Oakenshield too, right?
Yeah, so this would be a guy from The Hobbit.
A dude from The Hobbit. May or may not have heard of him.
A dwarf from The Hobbit.
Kind of important to the whole plot.
Kind of important. Just the king of the dwarf.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a good guy through most of his life. Mm-hmm. But then the dragon is gone from the mountain and he gets the dragon sickness from all the gold.
Yeah.
That's where he starts going a little crazy and making a bunch of bad decisions.
Poor choices all around.
Abandoning his friends.
Abandoning post. Abandoning friends. Relinquishing his duty. No.
Just like, yeah, they can die out there. That's fine.
Rude.
Yeah,
yes.
Very rude.
For those of you who haven't read The Hobbit, obviously, go read it. It's great. It's in the movies too, to a certain degree. But I think the thread here with Boromir, with Theoden, and with Thorin, they're all good people. There isn't it's like good people who make a bad choice and recognize it versus they're bad, and then finally redeem themselves.
Right.
Which is interesting. But we're going to get to a theme here too, because Thorin also dies.
I know.
After redeeming himself.
All of our examples of redemption, like true redemption, involves the characters dying. And I feel like...
I don't know what that says.
I wish we had some more examples of people redeeming themselves and not dying because... I don't know. You need some more compelling reasons to redeem yourself.
If dying is the only way out, I don't know how I feel about that.
Right.
I'm going to pull a Sauron and not submit to the will of man, the judgment of Manwë.
Right.
Thorin's great though, right? Because it's such a change of personality where he gets the dragon sickness, and kind of his fault, kind of not. He knew he was entering into the conditions in which he could get it.
And didn't you say it ran in the family?
In the family, because his
I can't remember.
It runs in the family, and he's like, you know where I'm going to hang out? Where all this dragon gold is, because nothing bad could happen.
You couldn't have been like, hey, you guys go in. I shouldn't go in and see it because...
Or have a stronger will. It's a bit of a Denethor situation where he's giving into the thing that he knows he's susceptible to.
Well, like Aragorn knows he's susceptible to the ring, and yet he can be around it. He just knows he has to fight harder against.
Well, only Aragorn is Aragorn, but...
Thorin is no Aragorn.
No. But yeah, he goes from being like this leader of the company and all this and going through all this stuff with his dwarves and Bilbo to threatening Bilbo, nearly letting greed destroy everything they've spent the whole book trying to do. And then it takes the Battle of the Five Armies at the end of The Hobbit where it finally breaks the dragon sickness.
Yeah, what breaks it? I
think it's just him fighting honorably and then having that sort of deathbed confession, kind of like Boromir. He does the right thing and fights.
He
finally.
Does.
So that's a choice.
Think back to the books and movies because I'm not as strong in these, but through a lot of the battle, I think he is just watching it happen.
Yeah.
And is kind of like, yeah, it's fine that all my kin are dying out there.
He doesn't make the right choice initially, and then he changes it and finally enters the fight.
Something does make him change. I can't remember.
I think it's Bilbo stealing the Arkenstone as part of it.
That's what I was wondering too. Is it because Bilbo stole the stone?
But it's that external person being like, do the right thing, and he finally breaks him out of it. He goes to fight, and he's mortally wounded as the death theme continues. But he does have that really banger line at the end, which I love.
Oh, what is it?
If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world.
Which is a nod to Bilbo and how he, just give me a fire and some bread.
And it's one of those quietly beautiful lines in Tolkien that I absolutely adore. He comes around at the end. So I see Thorin as being redeemed because he has that clarity of mind and
100%
sadly dies.
Sad.
Honestly, the only other this is kind of a boring example, but I actually had Glorfindel. Because we talk about all these redemption arcs. Okay, so we're talking, who has Boromir? Is a man. Theoden, a man. Thorin, a dwarf. We don't really have any elves. But Glorfindel's sort of the poster child for this is how you're supposed to do it. But I don't really think it's redemption. It's just, it's illustrative of when you do the right thing per the rules of how elves are created and die. You're given a second chance because he's literally reincarnated and sent back to Middle Earth.
And just to fill everybody in that Glorfindel, I thought that there were two Glorfindels to kind of tie in what you're talking about. Okay, so in the movies, when Frodo is stabbed in Weathertop and they run into Arwen in the woods, instead of Arwen in the books...
Completely made up, doesn't happen in the books.
True, but... Glorfindel is the elf that they run into in the woods, and it's Glorfindel that takes Frodo across the river.
The flight to the ford.
Into
Rivendell.
Thank you. Yes, to Rivendell. But so Glorfindel is also in the Silmarillion in the first age?
Badass hero, the first age.
First age.
The Fall of Gondolin, which is amazing. Everybody go out and read it. The conditions that pretty much anybody makes it out of Gondolin alive after all of Morgoth's and Sauron's forces attack. There's Balrogs. It's horrendous, right?
Insert evil here.
Insert evil crashing down, sneaking to the hidden city. Glorfindel, there's one pass escape out of the city that Elrond's parents are booking it out of there. The reason Elrond exists is also Glorfindel. And these people are fleeing out this mountain pass, and the baddies, and specifically a Balrog, recognizes what's going on, and Glorfindel fights a Balrog 1v1 on the mountain pass to allow the people to escape, kills the Balrog, also dies in the process. But it's textbook hero badass moment. It's so great. And anyway, because he did such a good job, he's again the poster child for oh, you did glorious service. We're going to send you to the halls of Mandos. Your wait time is reduced to nothing, and we're going to reincarnate you and give you a new body because you did so good.
And they didn't even change his name. He's still Glorfindel.
Nope, he gets to keep the same name. He probably, I assume he remembers what happens. It's the same
Great
soul,
question.
right? Or whatever. So it's and then he gets to just
Glorfindel 2.0.
He gets to chill in the second and third age. I don't really remember when he's up to in the second age, if at all.
I'm not sure.
Or if he comes back in the third age. But he's sent back, which is the only case of an elf we have doing that.
Yeah.
They send Baron and Luthien back too briefly, right? But like, that's different.
I don't remember. But he wasn't really redeemed by anything. Like,
no.
He was always a good guy.
He was always a good dude.
Heroic.
He's the goodest of dudes. He defeated a Balrog. But like, again, like,
but he did get a second chance. I was like, you did so good.
Yeah.
We're going to give you another chance.
Yeah. Go do that again. Go have fun. Here's your respawn. We're going to give you a boost in new equipment and a upgrade. And yeah, no, like the overall theme, I think we've very much spent talking about redemption. I thought I'd end on a slightly lighter note because our original question that we posed to sort of ourselves and listeners is, who deserves a second chance? And it's like, well, Glorfindel, because he did so good.
Yeah. He really deserves it.
He's a winner. So I guess,
cool.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Do you think you'd be redeemed?
I do think I would.
Yeah, you'd make the choice. You'd see the opportunity and take it.
I do.
Oh, you're a better person than I am.
Partly because I feel like I'm already in that process in my life. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, if I just think of it as terms of my own life, that I would. That being said, it took me a while.
Yeah. Oh. Well, and hopefully it doesn't end in death like all the cases in
I hope not too.
No, I don't mean that. I'm like, it's so ridiculous that I really wish we had a case of redemption. Maybe Frodo. Frodo's the one who he fails.
He does live.
But he's given the chance to live out his last couple years in Middle-earth and then sail to the Undying Lands, which is pretty cool.
Because he fails, but at the same time, nobody blames the guy.
Nobody could have succeeded. Nobody could have made it. He made it farther than anybody. So in that sense, he won. He did good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress. But I think, you really think you would make the right choice and
I do.
Be redeemed?
I hope. But I do.
I think you would. I think I'm too prideful. I hate to say it. Do I wish I would be able to see the opportunity and take it? Yes. Mm-hmm. Do I think I would pull a little bit of a Sauron and be like, that sounds really fun, comfortable, and I don't think I want to go through the embarrassment of truly... Also, yes.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Fair.
If the moment happens, I hope to # be a Boromir. But
# be a Boromir. I like it.
But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I've already missed my opportunities. I don't know.
What I've learned from Lord of the Rings is that even up to the very end, you can decide.
That's true.
You always have the choice, no matter how many times you've chosen something before.
All we can do is choose to do something at the time that's given to us.
Oh my gosh.
Some words of advice for hard times, as evidenced by Frodo and Gandalf. I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf, and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is...
what to do with the time that is given to us.
Yeah, wise words. But also, I think that gets to your point of, we always have a choice, even at the very end, when things seem desperate and awful and miserable.
Everybody got the chance up to the very end.
Oh, man. Well, I think that brings us to our call to adventure. Mm-hmm. So if you enjoyed wandering with us today, please subscribe to Beyond the Brandywine on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can also find us on YouTube at Beyond the Brandywine. We'll be putting up visual tangents to accompany some of the podcasts, as well as recordings of the podcasts themselves.
For even more Middle-earth musings, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Beyond the Brandywine.
Plus, find all of our links and more at beyondthebrandywine.com.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts on redemption in Tolkien's world. Is it truly within reach? Do you think you'd recognize the opportunity if given? Would you be a Boromir? So reach out to us on socials or email us at hello@beyondthebrandywine.com.
What was that again, Kelsey?
hello@beyondthebrandywine.com.
So until next time, if the Valar offer you a chance at redemption, we both recommend that you take it.
Strong recommend. And remember, don't be afraid to wander beyond the Brandywine.